Another Dooley Noted Podcast comes to you from the Coach's Podcast Room at Spurrier's Gridiron Grill in Celebration Point. All right, and welcome into another Dooley Noted Podcast presented by Titan MRI from the Meldon Law Gators Studios. Mike Bianchi is going to join us on today's show. Can't wait to talk to him about a myriad of subjects. You guys all know Mike. Used to work at the Gainesville Sun, now at the Orlando Sentinel, has a great radio show down there as well. Coach Spurrier will be in here on Monday. We're working on something for Wednesday. And again, I don't want to say who, but we got somebody that may be on that'll be really cool guests. And we're trying to do a special Wednesday Thanksgiving show. And a lot of you right now are going, special show? You mean like there'll be sound? Look, we know we've had some problems in the past. It's not anybody's fault. It's just computers and stuff, and maybe we overtaxed it. So we're coming up with a different way to do it, the same show exactly. But hopefully this is going to work out fine, and we apologize. I will say this, peeps. You guys all let me know, and that told me a lot. That tells me you care and that you're listening or watching to the show. So we got a lot of response. Not the kind of response you want to get, and now we're responding by trying to do a better job, and that's what we're going to keep doing. Trust us. Hang with us on it. We got a long way to go, not only in this football season, but through basketball and through everything else. And we hope you guys have enjoyed it so far. I get a lot of positive feedback as well. And look, negative feedback is fine. I love negative feedback. I've been getting it my whole life. Not from my parents so much. But I did get a lot of negative feedback as a columnist, so it's fine with me. All right, it is time for our hand law starting lineup. And, of course, as always, the starting lineup is presented by Hand Law, Florida law firm which helps its clients with government. You can learn more about Hand Law by visiting its website at www.hand.law. The firm is available for consultation in Jacksonville. Thanks to Chris Hand for bringing us a Hand Law starting lineup every Monday and Friday. And that's going to continue the Monday, Friday. It's just how we do it is going to be a little different. We'll get it up at 2:00 like normal. Number one on the Hand Law starting lineup. I've gotten this question on a couple of shows. I've been on a lot of shows this week for some reason. I don't even know why. But again, who am I? But I think they always struggle with how to introduce me. Pat Dooley from the WRUF, Gators Wire, Dooley Note, another Dooley Noted Podcast. They don't know what to, because I've got all these, jobs. But anyway, that's not your problem. But I've been getting this question about whether I should be. In fact, Chris Doring asked me this question on SEC Network yesterday. Should I be upset or alarmed or concerned, or should this be just natural? What is going on with all these players jumping in the portal or getting dismissed from the Florida football team? I think it's the numbers up to 7. And I said, hey, you can look at it one of two ways, exodus or purge. I think it's a purge. There is maybe some exodus, and that'll continue as it goes on. But they've gone through enough games with these guys to know the guys that are bought in, to know the guys that want to do it the way they want to do it. They want them to do well wherever they go. There's only one guy who's left that I even, bristle at. I don't want to say bristle's not the right word, but just cringe at, I guess. And that's Trent Whittemore. I thought Trent Whittemore was going to have a big year. Obviously, playing behind Pearsall, never really got a chance. And so is leaving, going to Mississippi State, along with his brother. At least that's the word. And that's two pretty good receivers for them. I always thought Trent Whittemore was a pretty good player. But again, we're not around practice. We're not involved in anything. But DeJuan Black leaves, got dismissed from the team. So look, Billy Napier, either you trust your coach or you don't. I'm not worried about it. I'm looking at it and going, okay, well, that's good. They're getting to where they're going to. This roster is going to have a massive change next year. The roster you're going to see next year is going to be so different. You can sign as many players you want. You got to stay at 85, but you can sign as many as you want to get to that 85. The more openings you have, the more players that you don't think want to do it your way that you have that you can get rid of, the more you were able to bring in players. And it's not just there. It's from the transfer portal. Billy Napier did not go hard on the transfer portal this year. He only brought in a few players on offense. Kind of wanted to see what those defensive guys could do. Now he knows. And the transfer portal will be hit hard by Florida. I mean, there's already – and, again, you don't want to bring up people that may or may not – but, there was already talk of Sam Hartman transferring to Florida, and I was like, okay, I'll take that. I love that guy as a player. Can you pick and choose now? Can you draft guys? But it will be a very busy, very interesting offseason for Florida football. That brings us to number 2 on the hand law starting lineup, which is, of course, the game on Saturday. Not a lot of talk, not a lot of chit-chat, not a lot of chirping about this game because Florida's won 30 of 31. And the one year they won, it was in Gainesville, and it was James Franklin was the coach. Never forget, he I think I talked about this last week. He said that he had his guy that wasn't going to play warm up, and then he brought in a different quarterback, and he was talking about how he fooled Florida. The quarterback did nothing in the game; it had nothing to do with it. It was 3 turnovers by the other quarterback, Treon Ayers. But anyway, that's why I think there's not a lot of talk. And everybody, I was at the quarterback club on Tuesday night, and somebody was talking about how it's always tough for Florida to go up there in the cold and everything. That used to be the excuse they used at Kentucky. And Florida actually got the Kentucky series moved to earlier in the year. But you're going to have to play some cold games if you play in a conference that has cold states. It's just the way it is. You can't play them all in September. But they've won 30 of 31 games, and they haven't lost in Nashville, I think, since that Herbert Perry had to play quarterback that game. I think Kyle Morris got hurt. Anyway, I kind of remember the game. That's forever ago. But so there hadn't been a lot of talk. Florida's a 14-point favorite, which is about right, I think. That's to get the bet right for a lot of people. Xavier Henderson now out. They said Justin Shorter may play. We'll just see who shows up. Wide receivers tend to get hurt. But that is the one position where Florida actually has numbers. They don't have SEC elite talent at that position, but they do have numbers. And so I think they'll be all right. If Shorter comes back, great. Caleb Douglas is starting to show signs of life, and they've got enough guys to put out there. But this is going to be about Florida running the ball. They're not very good against the run. Florida, of course, second in the nation in yards per carry. That's what it'll be about. Number 3 on the hand law starting lineup, Lane Kiffin was given an extension by Ole Miss. They're trying to combat the possible move to Auburn. It's going to be interesting to see if he wants to do that. I don't know. I don't know what his answer is going to be. It may be he doesn't want to walk into that mess. It may be that Auburn doesn't want him. I think Arizona State would be a better job for him. It's bigger city, kind of place he would love to be in. And I think he could turn it around. Auburn, you got all these expectations, but it is going to be an interesting dynamic to watch the Kiffin train, the Lane train, as they call it, because why is he at Ole Miss in the first place? A lot of ADs don't want to take a chance on him. Maybe Auburn does. We'll see. Number 4, this is college football dead week. We used to have dead week. I don't know. Do you still have dead week where they aren't allowed to give you any assignments because you're supposed to be studying for your finals? That still happens. I remember it in high school where you would literally, it would be called dead week, and that's what you did. You worked on getting ready for your tests and everything. This is dead week in college football. There are very few games of substance. We'll talk about them a little bit later in the Gainesville Quarterback Club games of the weekend. There's a couple of games, and they'll some game will come out of nowhere, and you'll go, "Oh my God, where is that? CBS 4? What?" The Ocho will find it, but it is just there's not much going on, and I think it'd be great if I know the SEC has tried hard to get at least some conference games this weekend, and maybe they thought they had a big one, and we'll talk about that one too in a little bit. But the bottom line is, it's a good weekend again. I think we had one earlier this year. If you want to take it off, like I did, I went to Bat Fest on the last time there was a bad one. So This is a good one. You watch the Gator game and then go out. There you go. And then finally on Hanlaw's starting lineup, stunning news when I read yesterday that Antonio Callaway has signed with the Cowboys. And I'm like, is he still around? I didn't even know. I looked it up. He had 2 catches last year, and he was with a team this year. I don't remember which one, and didn't make it. But he has only been signed to their practice squad. But man, he's one of those guys you feel like if you just want to shake his shoulders, get it together, man. You've got a chance to make a lot of money still. You're in Dallas. You know, if you can go out there and play at a high level, and they wouldn't have signed you if they hadn't seen your workout. So, guy was unbelievable. I mean, there are so many great receivers that have come through the University of Florida. Antonio Callaway is in the argument for top 20. I mean, there's so many that have been so good. I mean, all the Spurrier receivers, maybe top 15. Certainly one of the biggest plays ever. So anyway, it's good to see that he's back. I didn't even know he was still playing. 2 catches in 2000, actually, I think, or 2020. So he hadn't played this year, but now he's on a practice squad anyway. All right, that's going to do it for our Hanlaw starting lineup. We'll be back with Mike Bianchi. You know him well. Got a lot of questions for him, including yes, no, way, or maybe. All that and more on Another Dooley Noted Podcast, brought to you by Titan MRI from the Meldon Law Gator Studios. Hello there, everybody. I'm Pat Dooley, of course, from Another Dooley Noted Podcast. And this is a great Adam Brewer, and he has just opened up a place here, Adam Brewer To Go. What gave you the idea to do this, to have a to-go place?
We really like the fast concept, being able to get the barbecue. Now we have this new online ordering. So before it was a call ahead carry out, quick service. We have like a curbside kind of a deal where, everything's ready to go for you. And then we thought, wow, we have a really great dine-in concept, but how can we make this streamlined for the customer and make it easy and accessible for all parts of town?
Adam's Rib Co. To Go. Come on down and enjoy it.
Great food, great atmosphere, a diverse menu, everything made from scratch, plenty of space, and locally owned. These are all the characteristics of a great restaurant, and you can find each and every one of them right here in Gainesville at Ballyhoo Grill. Ballyhoo Grill prepares all of their food fresh every day, from their salad dressing to their award-winning soups. Bring your family and enjoy dinner under the Tim Trebo Tiki Hut while listening to live music. Or if you're running low on time to eat out, they also deliver through Uber Eats, Bite Squad, and Postmates. A Gainesville staple that's been open for over 30 years. Check out Ballyhoo Grill on Facebook or at ballyhoogrill.com.
Things have certainly got a little out of hand lately when it comes to just buying our everyday necessities. Just look at gas, streaming services, and heck, even chicken wings. Well, there is one necessity that shouldn't cost a ton: taking care of yourself and helping fix all the aches and pains in life, and the fine folks at Titan MRI agree. With costs a fraction of what you'd pay at a hospital, you'll not only save money, you'll be taken care of by staff with over 20 years experience. So when you need an MRI, call Titan first, and you can go where your doctors send their families. Now offering CAT scans.
Albert, Alberta, I understand you were witnesses to a crash. Can you tell us about the accident? When you're in a crash, it's important to get witness statements immediately after the accident. Whether you're in a car, truck, motorcycle, scooter, or even a golf cart accident, at Meldon Law, we won't back down.
Pat Dooley's Story Time is brought to you by East Lake Pediatrics. Nobody knows how to provide pediatric health care for little Gators better than Dr. Mike and the other board-certified pediatricians and the pediatric nurse practitioners of East Lake Pediatrics. They have been providing personalized health care to the children of Pinellas, Pasco, and Hillsborough counties since 2004. And with the recent addition of Dr. Chris, who is also board certified in sports medicine, they are now offering care for youth sports injuries as well. To learn more about East Lake Pediatrics, call 727-372-6760. And to get to know them better, listen to Dr. Mike and Dr. Carey on their Peds and Pop podcast on multiple platforms. Gator football is back, and the best way to get exclusive insight is a membership in the Gainesville Quarterback Club. As the oldest Gator booster club in the world, Gainesville Quarterback Club gives you the access to speakers like coaches, Gator greats, and more. Yeah, I even talk over there. It's pretty cool. Share your passion for Gator football with hundreds of other members at weekly in-person meetings or for non-locals via Zoom with an out-of-town membership. Right now, out-of-town memberships are only $150, and all new out-of-town signups get entered to win 2 Champions Club tickets to homecoming. That's pretty cool. Against Missouri, speaker presentations, home game tailgates, and special events throughout the year. Join the Gainesville Quarterback Club today. Email the club at membership@quarterbackclub.org or call me, Pat Dooley, 352-317-3444, and I'll get you in touch with the right people. Gainesville Quarterback Club.
Is your bank dropping the ball, not playing with heart or skill? Then you need to check out the scouting report on Campus USA Credit Union. That's a 5-star recruit if I've ever seen one. Campus has it all, like great rates and products, friendly service, and smart game plans for you and your money. So why not put some star power in your financial life? Visit campuscu.com or any campus service center today.
Honey, can I recruit you to take the garbage out?
All right, welcome back to another Dooley Noted Podcast presented by Titan MRI from the Meldon Law Gator Studios. Right now we go and on our Big Mills Cheesesteak Zoom line bring in our guest for today and every day. He's America's guest because you see him and hear him and read him all the time. The legendary Mike Bianchi. How you doing, Mikey?
Good to see you, Dools.
Yeah, it says up under your name, it says Interlachen Alumni. So we want to make sure everybody
the Interlachen Rams, I'll have you know, finished undefeated this year, won themselves a non-FHSAA state championship. So we are the Rams, the mighty, mighty Rams. Do it to them. Do it to them.
What do you mean unofficial? Did they turn private or something?
They got out of the FHSAA because of the unfair and unjudicious district setups they have now. So the Rams, sort of like Tom Petty did way back when he told the record company, you can't charge that much for my albums. He made a statement, and the Interlachen Rams made a statement as well.
So
like
were they were
little guy.
You're saying they were getting gerrymandered, right?
Exactly. Yes.
All right. Of course, Mike comes to you on the Big Mills Cheesesteak Zoom line. In the background, you can see a beautiful picture that I believe you won at a Bob Dooley silent auction, didn't you?
Absolutely. It's the great Carlos Alvarez, Gator great, the Cuban Comet back in 1969. I believe that catch you're looking at, he signed it and said it's my favorite catch of all time. I believe it may have been the catch against Houston, Dooley, back in the first game of 1969. I'm not sure, though.
No, it was not. I can tell you where it was. It was against FSU at home later in the year, but it was in Sports Illustrated because it was such an amazing catch. And they won that game, I think 21-6, something like that. But believe me, you know me. I know all the details except like wife's birthday and stuff like that. But the actual details of everything else, I'm pretty good at.
Billy, he used to be a young hack, but now he's an older hack. Now he grew up in Gainesville, worked for the Gainesville Sun part-time when we were working there. Keith Niebuhr.
Yeah.
Remember Niebuhr? We were out drinking at a bar one night, and Niebuhr goes, I know more Gator trivia than any of you guys. And I think it was Dooley who goes, okay, what was Carlos Alvarez's number? And Niebuhr goes, I don't know.
45. All right, let's talk about a few things. And one of them, of course, you being down in Orlando and doing your radio show there and obviously writing for the Sentinel and doing a great job, one of my favorite writers. That's why I hired him. That's why I liked him so much. But you've got UCF in the rankings. I think there was a point where everybody was like, wow, this team's not going to be very good. But then now they've all of a sudden gotten on a roll.
Yeah, they've gotten on a roll. They obviously they, believe it or not, Tulane was a huge game last week. They beat Tulane, and then you saw what Tulane did to SMU. on Friday or on Thursday night. So yeah, UCF, they're rolling their offense. They're running the ball. Gus Malzahn's got that, got the tempo offense, and unlike some other guys like Josh Heupel, who likes to throw the ball all over the field, Gus likes to run the football. He's got a very balanced offense. John Rice Plumlee, obviously a very athletically gifted running quarterback. And I wonder if Auburn right now is thinking, man, maybe we should have kept Gus. I mean, Gus had like a 68-37 SEC record. He beat Nick Saban 3 times. That's looking pretty good at Auburn right now, isn't it?
Well, I think Auburn is the biggest mess in college football. I don't think there's any doubt about it. And the right guy will have to go in there, but I don't know who that right guy is. Whether it is Lane Kiffin. Maybe Lane Kiffin can just keep those boosters at a distance. But it's really weird. Let me ask you about and now, is it still the Big Three or is it the Big Four now? Especially with UCF joining a major conference, does it become the Big Four?
I think it's the Big Four now. Obviously in the past, UCF was in the Group of 5. Well, next season they're going to the Big 12. We just saw the TV contract that the Big 12 negotiated with ESPN and Fox, where the Big 12 projections are the Big 12 is going to be making as much, if not more, TV money than the ACC. Obviously not in the SEC range, but yeah, the Big 12. Look at the Big 12 this season. I mean, Texas and Oklahoma are in the Big 12, and they're not even competing in that league this year. The Big 12, it might not be the best conference in college football this season, but it's the deepest conference, I think, in college football this year from top to bottom. I mean, you have teams at the bottom of that league that can beat teams at the top of that league. Yes, UCF has proven since 2017 that they belong with the big boys. They've been to more New Year's Six bowl games than Miami and Florida State. Hell, maybe even than Florida over the last 7 or 8 years. So, it's the Big Four.
Well, let me ask you this too. I want you to kind of look at the other 3 individually and the state of the program where they are right now. Let's start with Miami, which on the field hadn't been very good. Off the field, they've done a lot better, recruited pretty well. They've got a big money bags guy and Ruiz down there. But when you look at him on the field, you're like, well, a lot of people didn't think Cristobal was a very good coach before he got there. This is no big surprise to people. At the same time, he's brought in this all-star staff, including our friend Charlie Strong, and they just don't seem to be able to get things done.
No, but again, I'm not going to prejudge Mario Cristobal. He was brought in there for the same reason Billy Napier was brought to Florida. He was brought in there to upgrade the talent, upgrade recruiting. Manny Diaz wasn't getting it done on the recruiting trail. We know that. You look at the recruiting projections next for this coming signing day in Miami, even though they lost the quarterback from California to the Gators, and good for Billy Napier for flipping him. But, Cristobal is going to upgrade that roster. Miami is finally spending money on coaches and staffing and facilities. So I think Cristobal will get it done. He's just got to, obviously he's trying to clean house down there. We all know what's going on in college football. I wrote about it earlier this week in my column. Coaches love the transfer portal because it gives them a chance to sort of get the old guys out who don't fit into their system, don't fit into their culture, and then they can replenish their roster fairly quickly. Billy Napier is going through that at Florida. He's going to have a bunch of guys leave in the transfer portal, right. I think, and Mario Cristobal, same way. So I think it's way too early to judge Mario Cristobal, but right now, the Miami has been a big disappointment. They had a lot of hype and a lot of exposure before the season, and, they flopped.
I liked them. I liked them before the season because I liked Tyler Van Dyke, and then all of a sudden I think he caught Spencer Rattler disease.
Right.
Because all of a sudden he can't do anything. And I'm like, what happened? It's crazy. How about Florida State? And obviously next Friday night, that'll be a big game for both those teams in recruiting and in bragging rights and everything like that. But Norvell, it didn't feel like things were going well with them, and then all of a sudden they kind of took off.
Yeah, and Mike Norvell, I liked him when they made that hire. I covered him some when he was at Memphis. They were playing UCF a lot. I think Mike Norvell, and it's year 3, all right. So obviously he should be further along than Cristobal and Billy Napier, and he is. I think you look at what Florida State's doing. Transfer portal, they replenished their roster in the transfer portal. Mike Norvell still has to recruit better. High school wise, but the transfer portal has been a boon for Florida State. And look at them right now; they're 7-3. They'll win Saturday. That'll make them 8-3, and then they should be favored against the Gators up in Tallahassee.
Yeah, they are. I think 7.5 points right now. Yeah.
Yeah. So if things go as expected, that's 9-3 for them. I don't think anybody expected Florida State to go 9-3. Jordan Travis is playing lights out. I think he's the best quarterback in the state of Florida right now. If he comes back next year, and he probably will, I think he'll at least be mentioned as a preseason a candidate for the Heisman Trophy next year. Florida State offensively top 15, defensively top 15. They're running the ball 5 straight games, over 200 yards on the ground. They're a complete team right now. The Gators are going to have all they can handle next week in Tallahassee.
You mentioned that nobody saw 9-3 coming for FSU. Florida's about where we thought they might be because we knew that the roster was a mess. And I don't know how it's been for you in terms of your radio show and everything. I know you ask a lot of poll questions on there, but I've never seen Gator fans this patient in my life. And it's weird. I mean, you still get the occasional idiot, but for the most part, they're like, it's going the right way. It's going in the right direction. And we finally have a normal football coach.
Yeah. And I think obviously the big recruiting coup last week sort of helped that when they flipped the quarterback from California. Yeah. I can't remember his name now. What's his name?
Jaden Rashada. Yeah.
Yeah. They flipped him, and that was a big coup for them, especially after losing the kid to Lakeland, the kid from Lakeland to Miami. But yeah, I think, and plus, Pat, you know this. It's how the journey goes. All right. If Florida State, if Florida were, if they dropped the last 2 games instead of winning them, it might be a little bit different. But I think Billy Napier has done a great job. The team has gotten better, it seems like, throughout the course of the season. Fans love to see that their team is improving. Anthony Richardson, I think, has progressed as a quarterback. Fans love that, and obviously they hope he'll come back next year. So the journey matters, and I think the journey for Florida has been, progressively getting better. That Utah game at the beginning of the season, that was sort of an aberration. So good for them for beating Utah. I don't think they could do it right now. But, I think Billy Napier has done I'm not going to say he's the coach of the year or anything, but I think he's done a good job coaching this team.
Yeah, it is kind of interesting that the Gator Nation kind of mantra was, we need a coach to come in here and throw the ball over the place like Spurrier. And then Napier comes in there and he's pounding and grounding, and they go, well, that'll work too. We're good. We're okay with that as long as you score more points than the other team. They're at the point, I think, where they just want to see, something going up a hill instead of coming down at them at breakneck.
Well, they weren't happy in Will Muschamp's second year when that's what he was doing, and when they were winning these ugly games.
They weren't. And they complained after his first game in his second year, and he went on a tirade at Texas A&M. And unfortunately, he was staring at Robbie the whole time. And Robbie's like, I didn't do anything. But he picked somebody out that he could find. He had that
deranged look on his face, didn't he?
Yep. By the way, is there a chance you're going to get a third Cheez-It Bowl? You have 2 now, right?
That's right. That's right. The Cheez-It crackers, they just bought the sponsorship to the Citrus Bowl as well. So you have the Cheez-It Bowl, and then you have the Cheez-It Citrus Bowl. There is a third bowl game down here, the Cure Bowl. Maybe it could be the Cheez-It Cure Bowl. I don't know.
Maybe spicy Cheez-It Cure Bowl.
Yes.
We can do that. All right, it is time for you to play Yes, Nowhere, Maybe. We play this every Monday, every Friday, and is brought to you by Big Mill's Cheesesteaks, as is the Zoom line. We appreciate Keith Miller over there at Big Mill's. If you go in there and say, you listen to Another Dooley Noted Podcast, you get free French fries with your order. Number one on Yes, Nowhere, Maybe for Mike Bianchi, as Jeremy Foley likes to call you. Why does he do that? Hey, Bianchi.
That's actually how the rest of my family pronounces my last name. I was just always called Bianchi in school, so I just adopted Bianchi. So Bianchi's actually
he doesn't know
spelling.
that
That's what
though.
Jeremy Foley uses.
He doesn't know that though.
No, he doesn't.
All right.
He's from up north. I think that's the northern.
The northern.
I think that's the northern pronunciation.
Number one on Yes, No Way, or Maybe. Anthony Richardson will be Florida's quarterback starting next season.
I'm going to go yes on this. I'm going to go yes simply because. Am I supposed to expound?
No. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm going to go yes simply because I don't know that he's going to be a first-round draft pick this year. I think it would behoove him to come back because he's gotten progressively better. If he can come back next year and play lights out from beginning to the end of the season, he'll be in a top 5 draft pick. And that's a big difference in money from like a second rounder or a third rounder to top 5. So yes, I think he will come back next year.
You know, Andy Staples spoke to the quarterback club on Tuesday, and you've spoken to them before, and he was making a great point that you can sit him down and explain to him the money move is to come back. It's not to leave. You know, that you're going to get $1 million and maybe more in NIL money, and you're going to get a higher draft pick. So your first contract is going to be higher. Otherwise, you have to wait 3 years. So, the money move is actually for him to come back. But again, nobody knows for sure. He's been dealing with a lot of voices in his head all year, as we know. All right, number 2 on Yes, Nowhere, Maybe. I asked you if Anthony Richardson will be the starting quarterback at Florida, and number 1. Number 2, will we have Twitter at the same time?
Will we have what is going on with Twitter and Elon Musk, Dooley? I don't know. I heard a clip though.
Yeah.
I heard a clip today that a lot of the Twitter employees, the engineers, are quitting because, are you ready for this? Because Elon Musk wants them to work hard and come into the office, Dooley. What the hell? He wants them to work hard and come into the office? How dare he want his employees to come into the office and work hard?
That's why I retired. They wanted me to work hard. No. I don't know what's going on. It's way out of my pay grade, but all these people keep texting or keep putting on Twitter, if this is the last tweet I'm ever able to send, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, what? Because I mean, look, Twitter is evil. You're the one who coined that phrase, right?
Yes.
It is evil, but it's a great source of information. I like Twitter, but
it is.
There's a lot of bad information on there too.
In fact, if you go on my Twitter account right now, at Bianchi Writes, there's a link to my column. Click on that, and you can read my column right now if you want.
There we go. And is that the one about the coaches like the transfer portal more than the players?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, great. That's a great column and a good idea for a column. Finally, on Yes, No Way, or Maybe, you, Mike Bianchi, will be obsessed with the World Cup when it starts. You're a soccer guy. You're in a soccer town.
I am a soccer town, but I don't follow English Premier League soccer or any of the other leagues. I follow MLS. But I am going to watch when Team USA plays Wales in their opener on Monday, and I'll certainly watch the US-England game on Friday because we want to beat those Redcoats and beat them bad, just like we did back in 1776. And Dooley, no matter what happens during the World Cup, no way, no how can we lose to Iran a week from Monday. If that happens, that's unacceptable to lose to Iran in soccer or in,
or
in anything.
Yeah. I mean, they did take
Did you even know we played Iran?
No, I had no idea, but you never know. Like I always ask people, okay, how much do you hate Florida State? I hate them. I hate them more than anything. I don't care who they're playing. What if they're playing Iran? They go, that would be tough. But yeah. So anyway, hey, always great talking to you, buddy, and appreciate you taking the time. And again, your show is on 6 to 9, right?
6 to 9:30, FM 96.9, The Game, AM 740 in Orlando, or you can listen in Gainesville on the iHeartRadio app for free. Just search for 96.9 The Game in Orlando.
I do that often. I'm saying, I wonder what Bianchi's saying about this. And then I turn it over, and then you've got like some guy who is a greenskeeper at Islesworth or something. So, but I'll hang with it because I know eventually you're going to say something interesting. Always great talking to you, buddy. We'll talk to you soon.
See you, Dools.
All right, thanks. The great Mike Bianchi, columnist for the Orlando Sentinel, former columnist at the Gainesville Sun, former Interlachen Ram, former University of Florida student, former everything. He's done just about everything. Former Times Union columnist. We'll take a break. When we come back, we'll do all of our fun stuff. We got a lot to get to. Always Fridays a little jam-packed. We'll get to that. When we return, you're listening to or watching. That's the way you say it, right? Listening to or watching Another Dooley Noted Podcast, presented by Titan MRI from the Meldon Law Gator Studios. Hello there, everybody. I'm Pat Dooley, of course, from Another Dooley Noted Podcast. And this is a great Adam Brewer, and he's just opened up a place here, Adam Brewer To Go. What would give you the idea to do this, to have a to-go place like this?
We really like the fast concept, being able to get the barbecue. Now we have this new online ordering. So before it was a call ahead carry out, quick service. We have like a curbside kind of a deal where everything's ready to go for you. And then we thought, wow, we have a really great dine-in concept, but how can we make this streamlined for the customer and make it easy and accessible for all parts of town?
Adam's Rib Co. To Go. Come on down and enjoy it.
Great food, great atmosphere, a diverse menu, everything made from scratch, plenty of space, and locally owned. These are all the characteristics of a great restaurant, and you can find each and every one of them right here in Gainesville at Ballyhoo Grill. Ballyhoo Grill prepares all of their food fresh every day, from their salad dressing to their award-winning soups. Bring your family and enjoy dinner under the Tim Trebo Tiki Hut while listening to live music. Or if you're running low on time to eat out, they also deliver through Uber Eats, Bite Squad, and Postmates. A Gainesville staple that's been open for over 30 years. Check out Ballyhoo Grill on Facebook or at ballyhoogrill.com.
Things have certainly got a little out of hand lately when it comes to just buying our everyday necessities. Just look at gas, streaming services, and heck, even chicken wings. Well, there is one necessity that shouldn't cost a ton: taking care of yourself and helping fix all the aches and pains in life, and the fine folks at Titan MRI agree. With costs a fraction of what you'd pay at a hospital, you'll not only save money, you'll be taken care of by staff with over 20 years experience. So when you need an MRI, call Titan first, and you can go where your doctors send their families. Now offering CAT scans.
Albert, Alberta, I understand you were witnesses to a crash. Can you tell us about the accident? When you're in a crash, it's important to get witness statements immediately after the accident. Whether you're in a car, truck, motorcycle, scooter, or even a golf cart accident, at Meldon Law, we won't back down.
Pat Dooley's Storytime is brought to you by East Lake Pediatrics. Nobody knows how to provide pediatric health care for little Gators better than Dr. Mike and the other board-certified pediatricians and the pediatric nurse practitioners of East Lake Pediatrics. They have been providing personalized health care to the children of Pinellas, Pasco, and Hillsborough counties since 2004. And with the recent addition of Dr. Chris, who is also board certified in sports medicine, they are now offering care for youth sports injuries as well. To learn more about East Lake Pediatrics, call 727-372-6760. And to get to know them better, listen to Dr. Mike and Dr. Carey on their Peds and Pop podcast on multiple platforms. Gator football is back, and the best way to get exclusive insight is a membership in the Gainesville Quarterback Club. As the oldest Gator booster club in the world, Gainesville Quarterback Club gives you the access to speakers like coaches, Gator greats, and more. Yeah, I even talk over there. It's pretty cool. Share your passion for Gator football with hundreds of other members at weekly in-person meetings or for non-locals via Zoom with an out-of-town membership. Right now, out-of-town memberships are only $150, and all new out-of-town signups get entered to win 2 Champions Club tickets to homecoming. That's pretty cool. Against Missouri, speaker presentations, home game tailgates, and special events throughout the year. Join the Gainesville Quarterback Club today. Email the club at membership@quarterbackclub.org or call me, Pat Dooley, 352-317-3444, and I'll get you in touch with the right people. Gainesville Quarterback Club.
Is your bank dropping the ball, not playing with heart or skill? Then you need to check out the scouting report on Campus USA Credit Union. That's a 5-star recruit if I've ever seen one. Campus has it all, like great rates and products, friendly service, and smart game plans for you and your money. So why not put some star power in your financial life? Visit campuscu.com or any campus service center today.
Honey, can I recruit you to take the garbage out?
All right, welcome back to another Dooley Noted Podcast presented by Titan MRI from the Meldon Law Gators Studios. We appreciate Mike Bianchi for joining us, and again, Coach Spurrier on Monday. We'll have a guest. We're doing a Wednesday show before Thanksgiving, and then obviously before the Florida State game. We'll break that game down as well. We'll have some guests in. We're not 100% sure on who's going to be on or who's not going to be on, but we'll let you know. We'll let you know Monday. All right, let us get to our Leonardo's and Millhopper quick picks. A lot of you were correct in qualifying, and here's what we're going to do. We're going to make a poll on Wednesday. We're going to do that special show on Wednesday, Thanksgiving poll. One thing you can be thankful for is you get a chance to win $25 at Leonardo's plus a gift certificate of Big Mills. How about that? So that's pretty cool. We're going to start getting more gift certificates to Big Mills and getting those out to our listeners as well. So we look forward to it. Look forward to all of you for getting involved in the Leonardo's and Millhopper quick picks. We love doing it. 2 games today. You got to get them both right. At Florida is giving 14 at Vanderbilt. That's a tough call. It's a tough call. I mean, is Florida's roster 14 points better than Vanderbilt? Yes. Florida's got some injuries. Yes. Vanderbilt just won their first conference game. They got a little momentum. Yes. It's going to be cold. It's a tough call. Who to pick there? I think Florida will win the game, but I'm saying that 14 points is right about at the break-even point where you don't know which way to go. And the other big game, USC, of course, the only big game really. USC is giving 2.5 at UCLA. Big game in the Pac-12. Not lost a little luster because of UCLA's lost to Arizona, but that's certainly going to be interesting. USC. I can't wait for that game. We'll get to when it is when we do the games of the weekend. So that is our Leonardo's at Millhopper quick picks. Get them both right. You qualify. You got one more chance after that on Monday, and then we'll make a poll on Wednesday to get another winner. It is time for us to do our Hesser and Kipke 3 things. And, of course, 3 things, as always, is brought to you by Hesser and Kipke, a law firm based in Hale Plantation, specializing in employment, workers' comp, and family law. Visit their website at www.hklawfl.com or call Ken and Jennifer at 352-339-9920. Give them a call. Hesser and Kipke. We love them. Number one, the story, I didn't want to go this whole show without talking about what happened at Virginia. Of course, they're not playing their game this weekend because of the tragic shooting of 3 players on the team. But the story that came out that Mark Schleybaugh did, my friend Mark Schleybaugh, who's been on this show, and we'll get him on again. One of their players, Mike Hollins, a running back, when the gunfire started, ran back. It was off the bus, ran back on the bus to help people, and got shot in the back as the gunman saw him and he started to run away. He's looks like he's going to be okay. There's obviously going to be some damage. It actually, the bullet protruded out of the front of his stomach, which is just weird. I'd never heard of that before. But a special shout out to Mike Hollins and to everybody what they're having to deal with it there. Not easy, not easy at all. That's it's a tragic story, but especially somebody who goes back into the face of danger. I have a lot of admiration for those people. I'm probably not one of them, to be honest with you. I mean, I would, if it was family members and stuff like that, or people I really cared about. Like, I'd go save Tammy. I'd try to save her, but then she'd go, "This is the last person that can save me." But anyway, that's number one on 3 Things, brought to you by Hesser and Kipke. Number 2, the awards are, I think they're done in baseball. They always wait till later, and everybody's already forgotten about baseball, but I think they're done. The only one that I went, really, was Buck Showalter winning as the NL Manager of the Year. Didn't his team blow a 10.5 game lead with an unbelievable pitching staff? And didn't they blow it? And he's the manager. I'm not saying Snitkert should be, because he's already won it a bunch. I'm just saying I think he could have done better. The other ones I had no problem with. Michael Harris won the Rookie of the Year from the Braves, and it edged out Spencer Strider, who's also a Brave. So that's a good sign for Atlanta. And number 3 on Hesser and Kipke's 3 Things. No game there is a game. Browns and the Bills will play in Detroit because of the snowstorm that's about to hit Buffalo. Look, I'm not going to say anything about, whether you should play that game, whether it's snow, but I mean, it's obviously a bad storm that's coming. There are teams playing in snow. We watched Central Michigan the other night. I couldn't believe how much snow. They couldn't even tell what yard line it was. But you got to do what's right, and we aren't there, and we have no idea. So whatever they do is fine. You're going to enjoy the game probably more. I love snow games. I love watching them. But there comes a point where you're going, I'm going to quit watching because I don't know where the ball is. I don't know what yard line it is, so there's no yard marker. Anyway, the Bills are actually going to, because they're playing the Thanksgiving game in Detroit, are going to stay there. Or maybe it's the Browns. Whoever it is, one of them is going to have to stay there the whole time because they're playing again on Thursday. But that is interesting to see them move a game like that, and did the right thing, I'm sure. All right, that is our Hesser and Kipke 3 Things. Let us get to our Adams Ribco to Go Gator of the Week. And this is interesting because one of our listeners texted it. Somebody, I don't have it written down. I should know, but I can't remember who it was. Okay. But he sent me a text about this and thought she should be a candidate for Adams Ribco to Go Gator of the Week. And, I said, yeah, well, I looked into it a little bit more, and this is perfect for Adams Ribco to Go Gator of the Week. Even with all the stuff that's going on campus right now. But it is Parker Valby, and Parker Valby is was named the SEC cross country runner of the year for the 2nd year in a row. She's only, I think she's a redshirt sophomore, so she's still got time here, but pretty impressive what she's been able to do. She is the only Gator still alive. Florida did not qualify for the NCAAs, but she did as an individual, and we'll try to go out there and win that. That is in Stillwater. I wrote that down. But that'll be Saturday. So that'll be interesting to see what she does there. But Parker Valby, I know that getting SEC Runner of the Year is a big deal, but Adams Ribco to Go Gator of the Week, that's a bigger deal. Trust me. You get the same thing probably. Although we'll get you some Adams Rib. So there you go. That would be under NIL, wouldn't it? All right, it is time to go to This, That, and the Other, and we love doing This, That, and the Other. It is brought to you by Ballyhoo Grill, the great folks there, where we may be eating Thanksgiving dinner. I don't know. Nobody's invited us yet, but we may be there, and that'll be a blast. I'm looking forward to it. Dar Shakow Insurance and Ironwood Golf Course. We appreciate John Dar Jr. over there at Dar Shackhouse Insurance, and, of course, the great folks out at Ironwood, where the Bob Dooley Invitational will be taking place in May. I will warn you, by the way, people. I hate it when people say people. I will warn you, listeners of the show. If you want to play in the Bob Dooley, and a lot of people do, get your money in now, because it's going to fill up fast, and I can't do anything about it. I can't sneak people in the side door. There's only so many carts. So get it in. And there are already people doing that, even though it's 5 months away. Actually, 6 months away. Okay, let us get to this, that, and the other. This is that many people over time, over the last 10 years, let's just say that, including Nick Saban, have said the NCAA doesn't do things the right way. What we need is a college commissioner. And a lot of people have said that. Tim Brando's been on this show talking about it before. And it does seem to make sense. The only reason it doesn't make sense is that you have the 5 families, the 5 commissioners, and they are basically doing what's best for their conference, and that's all they care about. If you put one guy in charge of all those people, is that going to be a problem? Is there going to be conflict? I don't know. So it's really never happened. That is that they came out with this. Gene Smith was talking about the NCAA. We need to pull away from the NCAA. The Power 5 football needs to pull away from the NCAA and just have our own thing. And but the NCAA, or all the presidents, don't forget the NCAA is made up of the presidents of every university. They all voted, no, we don't want to do that. We want to stay with the NCAA. So that was the last thing. Now comes the other, which just came out today, that everybody, all these athletic directors and presidents and everybody have gotten a letter saying that their plan is to have a chief operating officer in charge of football. That's going to be interesting. It's complicated. I'm curious who it'll be. I will run if you want me to. I can be the commissioner of college football. Nobody watches more football than I do. My wife will attest to that. I'll be watching a lot this week, even though there's not any good games. But it is interesting that there is going to be down the road a chief operating officer. And like the first name you think about is Greg Sankey, who seems to know everything. It just seems so smart, and really he can put aside SEC bias. There's no problem. He can do that. But he may not want to do it. And I know there's a lot of people that don't. We were talking about Jeremy Foley earlier. Right? He would seem to be an ideal person, but I don't know if he wants to do that. So that is our This, That, and the Other, brought to you by Ironwood, brought to you by Dar Shackhouse Insurance, and brought to you by Ballyhoo Grill. Let us get to our Gainesville Quarterback Club games of the weekend, and a lot of stuff going on this weekend. It's going to be a fun weekend. Tonight, of course, Florida playing basketball at 8 o'clock. I'm sorry, yes, 8 o'clock. It's on the ACC network, not the SEC network. It's on the ACC network. If you don't get it, you don't get it. But that's where you have to get it. There's probably other ways to find it, but they're playing that game against Florida State. Now, Florida State's 0-3. Their best player's out. He's not eligible. They've had some struggles. They've lost some tough games, lost to Stetson. Florida played bad his last time out. Important game for Florida to win. They need to win this game. If you don't beat them now, and I know they beat them last year, but if you don't beat them this year when they're a little bit down, you're in trouble. So they need to kind of win this game. And then, of course, the women are also playing tonight against Bethune-Cookman at home. That's a 6 o'clock start if you want to get over there to that game. The big thing really around here, for those of us who like all sports, is volleyball, which is being played Saturday against Kentucky. It's basically the conference championships on the line. Technically, it's not, but it is. Florida needs to, you'd love to sweep. 4 o'clock Saturday, 2 o'clock Sunday. I've already declared that if Florida wins Saturday, I'll be there Sunday. I'll actually be wearing a Gator shirt probably. Although today I'm wearing the Bill Belichick hoodie. So, I figured, hey, if he's making millions of dollars, Napier's making millions of dollars, and they're always wearing hoodies, why can't I? All right, so again, volleyball, 4 o'clock Saturday, 2 o'clock Sunday. Here is our state college game of the year, of the week, certainly not of the year. Miami at Clemson. is the best game. 3:30 on ESPN, even though Clemson is a 19-point favorite. I wouldn't be surprised to see Miami make this competitive game. I just got a feeling about this. But that is, and again, this talks a little bit about the week, the Saturday we're about to go through. The SEC game of the week, 3:30 on CBS. Georgia at Kentucky. Georgia's a 22.5-point favorite. However, it is the best game to watch. Think about how big this game seemed before the season. Like that this could come down to deciding the SEC East. And then Kentucky went off the rails and Georgia's been dominant. But it's the best we got. That's the 3:30 game. And then the 8 o'clock game is on Fox, USC at UCLA. We talked about that game earlier, 2.5-point spread. That'll be a great game to watch. Great offense. I'm looking forward to watching that. Those are our Gainesville Quarterback Club games of the weekend. Andy Staples was great there on Tuesday night. This Tuesday night they have Phil Farr. You can still get a temporary membership there, and they have 2 more to go in the football season. But then they do a spring one as well and some other ones. So anyway, it's fun. It's great. The speakers have been incredible this year. The Gainesville Quarterback Club, the oldest quarterback club. And don't forget, women are allowed to join. I know a lot of places they aren't. I can tell you a bunch of places I've spoken to where they aren't. Here in Gainesville, we have the women there, and they are kind of dominating that club because they get all the picks right. We aren't too good at it. Our gender. Finally, it is time for Pat Dooley's story time. Excuse me. Brought to you, as always, by Eastlake Pediatrics. I got a note from Mike Jordan the other day at Eastlake and wants to get in the Bob Dooley Invitational. Good example. And I said, hey, come on. We'd love to have you. We got room. But you better get it in, man. You better get it in. You better get the entry fee in or we'll run out of time. But the Pat Dooley Story Time is brought to you every week by Eastlake, and we appreciate them. We have fun telling these stories. The story today is going to be about 2006, Florida is playing at Vanderbilt. So I tried to make it timely. They're playing at Vanderbilt, and this is one of those years when the rate at the Marriott right next to the stadium was low enough that we could stay there. That was always a huge deal. That is a great Marriott A, and the B part of it is you literally can leave 2 minutes before the game starts because it's right on the stadium grounds practically. So we were there and we were enjoying it. And I remember Florida won the game, and I said, look, I'm going to go back to my room and right where it's comfy, and I can do whatever I want, watch other games and stuff, and watch whatever I want, because it was a like 11 o'clock game, 11 a.m. game. So we went back there, and in that game, LSU, I want to say LSU beat Tennessee. I think LSU beat Tennessee. I think that's what happened. At any rate, I'm like, well, I remember Robbie's brother Tim was watching the game with me, and I said, hey, Florida just won the SEC East. And he goes, yeah, we're all happy, and everybody was excited. We're going to Atlanta, which we always love going to Atlanta. And I said, hey, you know what I could do? I could call Urban, because Urban is, I had a great relationship, still do. So I can call him and find out, we'll get his thoughts on it. So I call, phone picks right up. I go, hey, you guys just won the SEC East? He goes, yeah, we were watching it on the plane. We're on the tarmac. You should hear the players. And I go, well, yeah, I'd love to hear the players. So he puts the phone back up, and the players are all celebrating. I'm like, this was a really cool moment. I like this. This was fun. But that was back when Florida used to win the SEC East all the time. And they still have won it more than anybody else. 13 times. 14, the SEC West is Alabama. They've got the most. So at least Florida didn't lose ground to Alabama on that chase. But got to get back in that game. Got to win some SEC championships. It's been a long time since Florida's won an SEC championship. 2008. I've been in it a few times. 1, 2, 3, 4 since then, I believe. But haven't won it. So they got to get there. And they will. I'm convinced. All right. That's going to do it for another Dooley Noted podcast on this day. Tammy, with a great job of producing. We hope we've got these problems solved. And again, if you have an issue with any problems not with my opinions. That doesn't do any good to complain about them. Let us know. We're happy to do it. And again, Monday, Coach Spurrier will be here. And I think that's it. Is that it, Tammy? All right. Until next time, I am Pat Dooley. I am deep. I am way back, and I am out of here.